Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4.
Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo.
This is Todd Toback, and welcome back to our series on the top 10 mistakes wholesalers make when talking to sellers that drive away their prospects and kill 90% of their deals. Now, if you haven't listened to the first episode, head on over to the last episode in the podcast and make sure you catch up on, again, the top 10 mistakes wholesalers make. And again, you don't have to be a wholesaler, but you must be in the business of acquiring houses, right? This is so critical, such a critical skill to have to be able to negotiate and speak with sellers. I can tell you that speaking with sellers is the most critical skill in this business. I don't care about the fancy CRM that you have, the Podio Schmodio, the automation, the fancy new marketing service that you use, which is not bad, but if you don't know how to speak with motivated sellers, you are leaving so much money on the table. It's literally the difference between success and failure in the business. The skill of selling and listening and negotiating with a seller. So that being said, we're going to jump into the third mistake that wholesalers make when speaking with prospects, and that literally kill their deals. But before we jump into that, make sure you head on over to our website, NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com, and download a copy of the map, the massive action plan. This is going to show you how to get your first deal in wholesaling and then scale that business all the way up to 6 or 7 figures. And one of the top mistakes that wholesalers make is not building rapport. All right, people do business with people they like, know, and trust. Now, this does not mean that you need to know a seller for years, but it does mean that you need to warm up to a seller. Very, very important. Now, it depends on the personality type, and that's something that I'm going to teach you in a free 3-video series. And at the end of this podcast episode, I'm going to show you how to get that 3-part video series on speaking with motivated sellers. This is all about what not to do. In that video series, I'm going to share with you what to do. All right. So, a lot of times people get on the phone and they just get into it, right? They say, hey, I'm just going to give you a cash offer for this, this, and this. And because you haven't warmed up that seller, that prospect is going to freeze up, and they're not going to give you the information that you need, and they're not going to tell you their real problem. And so 2 things happen is that A, you could have had a motivated seller that was really, really motivated, but froze and then decided to not tell you anything, and now you walk away from that lead. Or you had someone who was maybe on the fence, and because you didn't build that rapport, they decided not to do business with you. Now, if someone has no real problem or challenge, you're not going to do business with them anyway, so that doesn't matter. But the rapport building will enable you to find that out. And again, I'm not recommending that you spend time with unmotivated sellers, but I am saying it's important to build rapport. And in that 3-part video series, which I'm going to tell you how to get at the end, I'm going to talk about one of the ways on how to do that very, very effectively. Now, number 2, and this is a biggie, and that is not setting an agenda, okay? Not setting expectations for the call or asking permission to ask questions. All right. And so when they get on the phone with a seller and they don't ask permission, all of a sudden it's like going to a doctor and all of a sudden going to a proctology exam. So you're like, okay, are you current on your mortgage? Are you behind on your taxes? Has the house had the AC fixed? Has your mother and father, are they alcoholics? Whatever that is. You're not asking permission to ask questions, and the seller again freezes, and they're not really telling you what's going on in the situation. The other part of that is that whenever I get on the phone with a seller, I love to set expectations. I love to tell them that I'm just going to ask a few questions so that I can better understand their needs. And the more information I know about their situation and the property, okay, the better price that I can give them. And if they're open with me and honest and tell me everything they can, I can probably give them more because they're less unknowns. I know I gave you a little sneak peek on what to do, but again, this episode is all about what not to do. All right. The other part about that is not sending the agenda. So when I speak with sellers, when I used to speak with sellers, I used to just get on the phone and not set expectations about what was going to happen at the end of the call. I used to just talk, ask some questions, and then hang up. And the seller didn't know what to do next. I didn't know what to do next. The seller CPA didn't know what to do next. So you know what happened? There was no contract. There was no deal. There was no money to be made. And sometimes sellers are looking for that direction, okay? And it's very important, again, that whole analogy about going to the proctologist, right? This is a very uncomfortable situation for anybody, right? So imagine if you went to a proctologist and they were speaking to you, they opened the door, and the proctologist stuck a white glove on really quickly, turned you around, and stuck his finger in your rear end, okay? Imagine how that experience is going to be. And that's exactly how most new investors do it, right? They go into a conversation and they just do the unthinkable, all right? If you've got a bad mental image right now, don't worry, so do I. And so that's why you should never do this. Now imagine, okay, I'm approaching 40 now, so I can relate to this because this is probably going to be me soon, the doctor walks in and says, Todd, or Joe, or Rick, or anyone else who would have to experience this, male or female, and they say, listen, I'm here to help. Let me tell you a little bit about what happens next. This is really important, Todd, because you're approaching 40 and I've got a screen for cancer. So I'm going to put on this white glove. I need you to relax. It's only going to take about 10 seconds. And if you do this, I can screen for cancer. And yes, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's really, really important that we do this. All right. And so I now understand the process. I understand what's going to happen. And hey, we'll get the test results back next week. I'm relaxed. I can get through it. I'm going to be open, and I'm going to basically cooperate with the doctor to get him what he needs. So much easier, right? Think about those two scenarios. And, you say, Todd, why such a harsh analogy? Is because sometimes when you just jump into it, right, sellers feel like you're invading them that way, right? They feel exactly that way. So you want to ease them into it. You want to tell them what's going to happen. You want them to be able to relax. You really want to set that expectation of what's going to happen step by step by step. And if you do that, you're going to solve a real problem, right? A real challenge. So I hope that was really helpful. We have, 6 more items on the top 10 mistakes wholesalers make. Very important. If you go to my website right now, there's a secret link, nolimitsrealestatinvesting.com/convert. And there's a 3-part video series there on telling you how exactly to speak to motivated sellers and what to do and how to do it. Again, secret video series on that page, absolutely free, nolimitsrealestatinvesting.com/convert. Stay tuned for the next episode on the top 10 mistakes wholesalers make when talking to sellers that drive away their prospects and kill 90% of their deals. Don't be that guy. See you on the next episode. Talk to you then, and I'm pumped. Talk to you soon.